next speaker is going to be tuning in online, and that's going to be Kedar Kulkani, who is the Senior VP Digital at PureTech Digital. And he's going to talk about how to use digital marketing strategies to win and keep your customers. Hopefully, Kedar, you can already hear me, and if I could just have him on the screen here. Maybe we are having some technical difficulties, or... All right, perfect. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, hi.
Perfect.
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear you
welcome
very
to
well.
the
Thank you.
stage. Take it away.
Excited to be a part of the Wolf Summit today. Thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear and see me. I'm joining on from the other end of the world, still bringing you relevant content. Uh, Thank you for the introduction. My name is Kedar. I'm going to talk about how to use online digital marketing strategies to win and keep your customers with you here today. So I have, for about 20 minutes that we have, I've divided this, since it's going to be online, I'm going to do most of the talking like you guys know. And I have divided this into the points that I want to cover today. We've kept in mind that the audience here is, of course, a lot of startups, investors, people who might have done some of these parts in detail, but we're going to talk about it more broadly and holistically, so to say. So we want to understand the model digital marketing funnel. We want to know what are the key levers for growth across companies that are in different stages of their life cycle. What are the key contributors like organic marketing, content marketing, performance marketing, and what are the key levers for retention? So one part is acquiring new customers, whether you're a B2B or a B2C company, and then it's about retaining those customers. So how web analytics, first-party data management, given the GDPR guidelines, and marketing automation can help you do this. So we're going to broadly talk about these three things today. So before we talk about any of these processes, I think one key aspect that we spoke about was understanding the modern marketing funnel. And to understand that funnel better, I think it's important that some of the attributes that we say or we assume we should sort of note down together. So here is how the modern consumer is interacting with the digital experiences that we are creating, whether they are for your B2B or a B2C customer. So it's digital. Phygital is basically something that is physical and digital. So while the primary touch point is digital, but there are some aspects of buying especially in the B2C cycle, which are physical in nature. So we can say more or less phygital experience is what consumers are coming across to. Increased number of interactions online. So I read an interesting research from this website called Smart Insights that said that previously the conversion cycle on digital was perhaps 2 interactions before having a conversion, that is back in 2013-14. I think 10 years hence in 2023, that number has changed from 2 to 11. So you have more touch points digitally for a consumer before they end up deciding about anything that they want to buy. So decision making, of course, naturally is faster. It has got more information. The consumer has speed, ease, and reliability are the key aspects that people look at. So how quickly can I get the answers to my questions, or what I want? How easy is it for me to do it, and how relatable do I feel about the product or the service as far as I'm in need? These are the key considerations for a connect with the consumer. Customer experience, of course, once you have a customer on your website, from that moment, or your app or your store, that from that moment the experience with the customer starts, and that is what is going to make the consumer make your brand tick for the consumer. So therefore, the old cycle that you had of awareness, intent, desire, and action, the typical IDA model that everybody followed in marketing, while it has in concept pretty much stayed the same, but the funnels are no longer linear. They're non-linear. People move, or users move, customers move from one page to the other quite quickly. And it has become steep because there are so many channels of interaction. You have Google search, you have Meta, you have LinkedIn, you have Twitter, so many different channels, different websites that you interact with, influencers that are into play for most of the products that you have, other informative websites that come into, comparative shopping engines that are there, marketplaces that are there. So this funnel, of course, has become really steep, crowded, and it's a multi-touch attributed funnel that you have for a modern consumer. So given this in mind, I think the key part here is to understand the evolution of funnel that I spoke about earlier, which is what I call the modern marketing funnel. So again, I think this is very easy to sort of understand. It's the RACE framework that is called Reach, Act, Convert, and Engage framework. that on the y-axis you have customer interactions and value as to how many number of interactions or what kind of interactions do they have and what kind of value are they likely to bring, and on the x-axis you have time. This is once again I'll refer to Smart Insights. They've put it very well. I've just customized this to this conversation and our modern understanding today. So on the reach side, if you have a little focus, there are more in-store offline experiences. Some of us put platforms like programmatic or DV360 on that side, which are primarily to reach out to new users, where you can use TV, radio, events, print, so on and so forth, where the idea is to reach out to maximum number of people for your services, but they're not so not everybody that you reach out to is going to be your customer, is going to be likely your customer. Then of course you move to the act part, where you have content marketing, where you have search-based discovery, where users search, interact with the search engine online, search for a product or a service that you have to offer, search for peripheral items or what we call lateral searches, on search, and that is where the interaction or engagement with your website starts. So it's somewhere in the middle of reach and action or getting people to your website. That is where, of course, people come across. So not a lot of people search for only search terms. They sometimes search for problems that they want to solve. For example, if you have a accounting software and somebody wants to file taxes, so their search would be more related to their taxes and problems that they would have rather than the accounting software, so on and so forth. So search intent sort of comes into play in the act part. And as you move ahead in the funnel, there are different activities that basically we've mapped against the act, against the convert and the engage parts of the audiences. And as you move ahead on the x-axis, the the value of the consumer starts getting better. If any of you is interested in this, of course, at the end of the slide we have a QR code to download this presentation. So you don't need to, if anybody is noting, you don't need to note down really everything. You can download this presentation at the end of it. And the key thing here to note is that the interaction for a particular consumer, essentially digitally, starts from the very moment that the consumer hits your website, or the user hits your website. And at each point in time in this funnel, as the consumer interacts, they leave some traces for you to get back on. And these are the different mediums that you would use typically. For example, there is a concept called marketing qualified lead and sales qualified lead, where a consumer who comes first to your product or a service, depending on how evolved your product is, if you're a non-e-commerce business or if you're a service business, you need to qualify that consumer to really say if it is a fitment and that is the same consumer that you want to be able to therefore proceed with the sales cycle. Sometimes the sales cycles are longer, larger. And as you move ahead, these are different elements that you use. For example, you use marketing automation campaigns to automate the journeys of these consumers. For example, if somebody wants to buy insurance product or services product, then their journey would be a 3-month journey, where you would map the very time from the time that the consumer came to your website and left his details to the time they actually make a purchase, as to what kind of interactions can happen. And all of these interactions can be automated across the different touch points across the RACE framework. I think it is a very good way to represent and understand the different dynamics and activities and services that are required for your business. And each of the businesses who's present at the Wolf Summit today, or who's thinking about their business, may be present at different parts. So the best part, like I spoke to you about, while the representation is linear, but the interaction of the users is not linear. So you would have like users at different parts of the journey may require different inputs, and perhaps two things merge together to become a larger effect that we call the RACE effect. So talking about key points across the acquisition. So we're going to talk about the acquisition funnel and the retention funnel. On the acquisition funnel, I'm sure everybody who's been there doing digital marketing knows that these are the 3 key pillars that you have. But important thing to note for startups is that these 3 need to work in tandem and together. And the trifecta is what can do magic for your organization, because it does different things at different times. For example, organic marketing is slow. It is a lot more meticulous, a lot more work to do with the website maintenance team, technology team, content team. But it is a short way to sort of attract customers who are finding the right solutions. They typically tend to be better quality users. So if you have like a website analytics report, you will always find organic visitors and direct visitors to be the visitors who have higher conversion rates, and they're better quality visitors. They have of course lower cost, but lower cost comes into play after you have enough of them. and they can help you across the funnel. So typically organic marketing works in a way where you're targeting the top end of the funnel and even the bottom of the funnel to sort of have a view of the consumer across the board and have them information that is related to your business on your site. This is very well supported with content marketing. So here is where you create content for SEO. Here is where you create content for your blogs, for educating the users on your website, for thought leadership and engagement. And this ties in hand in hand very well with SEO and also from a top of the funnel discovery point of view. So platforms like native advertising platforms or publisher platforms where you believe people have the right questions. For example, if your product is about HR solutioning software, so it would merit you to be present on websites whether it's discuss about recruitment and human resources and other indexes and stuff like that. And that is where the brand gets discovered for a solution that may be required for any organization who's going to use the product. So organic marketing ties in very well with content marketing. Content marketing, when aided with paid syndication and native advertising, can act as a very good influx at the top of the funnel and the discovery of the brand. And of course, it comes down to performance marketing, which I think everybody tries to do, where you have a platform which you want to advertise on, and you tend to put monies on it. Typically, across the businesses, whether you're a B2B or a B2C company, your search intent advertising, that is advertising on Google and Bing search, on Apple search for app downloads, is the key. For some of the B2C products, Meta of course becomes a big ecosystem. For B2B products, you would throw in LinkedIn and Twitter also in the fray, primarily focusing on the type of targeting options that are basically available here. Then you would have at the top of the funnel there is where you want to do demand generation. A lot of YouTube or OTT platforms come into play. Publisher content comes into play and native advertising comes into play. All of this basically can be measured. You can figure out how much money you want to put, what is the audience that you want to reach, what's the objective that you want, and how downstream do you want to measure this funnel, whether you want to measure it at a lead or a conversion or a sale or a revenue, etc. All of basically this is possible, which is why it's called performance marketing. So using all of these three things together for your business, regardless of the stage that you are at, given the appetite that you have to invest in something like this, is very necessary for any business to thrive and grow in this market, in this digital age that we have. So this is on the acquisition side. Of course, on the retention and analytics side, there are three key things that one needs to take care of when we are talking about retention. The first part is of course web analytics. What I spoke about in the previous version, the contributions are by different channels, like you say, organic channel, paid channel, referral channel, direct channel, etc. But you need assessment of what to measure on the website and the app. What kind of micro conversions do you want to measure, etc. And for that you need to configure. I think a large wave of people is moving from Universal Analytics to GA4, which is I think happening. And by the end of 30th of June, Google is going to be sunsetting Universal Analytics, and from 1st of July, GA4 is going to come in. So I hope everybody who has a website and app has migrated from that, and that's like the key thing to do to measure whatever impact you want to have of your website. Then of course, while you are doing web analytics, if you are an evolved organization, which I'm sure all of you are, you must have some CRM or a LMS sort of system that you have, which is GDPR compliant, which is managing your customer data, or for people who have given you information to get in touch with them. You need to be very smart about how you want to use this information. What kind of interactions of users do you want to, or can you ask them to capture? So spray and pray modes of marketing are pretty much dated. And I think as the first party compliance gets even more stringent, it'll be very important for you to know all of these consumers better. So regardless of the size of the organization, at least some thought should be given to how you want to plan this or activate this. And of course, to activate this, you need marketing automations where you can design consumer journeys, which can be for your customers or non-customers based on their interactions with the website, and how they can be more predictable, and how you want to personalize the brand experiences per se. What this does is basically all of these three things put together are going to help you improve your conversion rates, optimize your media spends that are there, enhance the customer experience, and of course is going to help you scale, which is like the key thing that any business in this day and age wants to do. So I think So those are basically the key elements that I think are very important for businesses to know. Of course, happy to sort of discuss this in depth or offline with any of you who would be interested to evaluate and decide how we can work together to align some goals. You can very well download the presentation from the slide. Here are my coordinates. You can write to us if you would be interested. Happy to take any questions that may be there. I hope there are some.